The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you would like to send us an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out about the programming we have available for you, 24/7, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, that is www.xzbn.net. And for the X Zone TV channel that's exclusive to Simul TV, visit their website at www.simultv.com. My guest this hour, X Zone Nation, is Pattie Freeman, and we've had the pleasure of having Pattie on the show many times before. She is a board-certified hypnotherapist, and she is also an instructor teaching others to become hypnotists. Now, she's working on her PhD presently in natural medicine. She's been a hypnotherapist since the year 2000. She's worked with various clientele, including UFO sightings with MUFON and other agencies. And besides her clientele, she works with right kids' anxiety, addiction, sports, and much more. Joining me now is Pattie Freeman. And Pattie, welcome back to the X Zone. Nice talking to you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to be on your station.
Pattie, for our listeners who may not have had the opportunity of hearing you before on the X Zone, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what was it that made Pattie Freeman want to become so involved with hypnotherapy, become a hypnosis. And by the way, congratulations on your upcoming doctorate in natural medicine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was a good choice for me to go forward, into my education, because education, the more you could get, the better you are at what you do also. Sure. And it enlightens everyone, and, you're always learning something in life. And so, well, thank you for that. But about hypnotherapy, it came upon me kind of unexpectedly because I wanted to change my career. I didn't think it was hypnotherapy, to be honest. It led me into something else like massage therapy. I had a business and changed over to massage. And what happened, I got people coming to me about everything about, losing weight and stop smoking, anxiety. And I figured there was something more. And I've heard of, hypnosis is helping this and helping that. But I always was a skeptic because I didn't think, well, who would do something like that, And it's all natural, of course. And what I thought was, well, this will be something interesting and something to do and to help my clients get better. And that's what ended up happening. I ended up doing hypnotherapy.
How does hypnosis work, Pattie? What is the physiology behind it?
The physiology behind it is, you have your subconscious mind on one end and you got your conscious mind on the other side. And
right.
I always tell my clients the subconscious is like your hard drive in your computer. It remembers everything from childhood, even when you're born, and all the bad habits and good habits that we have. And the conscious mind delivers that from one side to the other. And I always say, be careful what you ask for. You might just get it, because that's the way we think and what we do. So in hypnotherapy, what it is the conscious mind understands it, but it doesn't understand it fully as the subconscious does. And that's what hypnotherapy does. It goes in and changes our thought wave of how we think, what we see, how we act, and change it. It's almost like rebooting the mind, and starting it all over again and thinking more positive.
Is it true that not everyone can be hypnotized?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The way I say it is, if someone comes into my office and says, "Oh, this is not going to work," "Oh, I don't believe it," things like that, well, they're right. It's not going to work. But if they come to me and says, "Well, I kind of don't know nothing about it. I was sent here. I kind of want to, do these things, but I'm not sure if it will work on me." Well, that's when I take my time and sit down and explain to them what it does, how it helps, give them examples. And then once they see, well, maybe there is another choice for them and an alternative matter, then they go ahead and do it. And then they see such big changes.
From the time someone sits down with you to the time that you can actually put them under, how long does that usually take?
Again, depending on the person. If they've been hypnotized before, they go quick. By the time I count them down from 10 to 1. By the time I get to 8, they're gone.
Wow.
So it's so different. If they're children, I would say from age 7 and up, they're a little bit, inquisitive and maybe a little antsy, but they go under just as quick. And if you've never been hypnotized before, you might be fighting, saying, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this," in your head, "Do I want change?" And it might take them a little bit longer. But what I do is I copy the session for them, so when they go home and listen to it, then they're getting their own environment where they're more comfortable, and then they can fall asleep better and listen to what they need to listen to.
When somebody goes under hypnosis, are they in control of their actions, their thoughts, their physicality, or is it the person, like yourself, the hypnotist, who is in charge?
Oh, they're always in control. That's the misconception that they have. They always think we have control,
right,
or we can make them do something. That's not true. Now, granted, let's say they come to me and they have a laundry list of 20 different things, and I only pick 1 or 2 and say this would be the best to go with. But if their mind is saying, "Well, I don't want to do that, I want to do this instead," well, they won't go under, and they won't, they can control that. But if I'm there saying, "Okay, if this is what you want to deal with, and those are the things I want to deal with," they're going to be so in control. That's what makes it more successful, because they're in control to make it happen. They're always in control.
So are you just helping them to peel back the layers to their life?
Yes, very much so.
And in all the years that you've been doing hypnosis, what is the number one request that you get from a client to help them with? Is it smoking? Is it weight loss? Is it to help them relax more?
Well, you know what? Now that the millennium children, as they call it, is out, they're so different. They think different. It's a lot of anxiety.
Really?
Yeah. They come to me for anxiety for everything. And they've been misdiagnosed with it. They've diagnosed themselves. PTSD, things in that nature. Is very emotional for them. It's very hard for them. And so the anxiety really is led by stress or other things. And then it continues when they're having the anxiety or stress moments. It leads to eating more, or it leads to smoking or doing addiction issues, a whole bunch of different things. So anxiety is like the number one. When they come to me, they have a lot of that going on.
But how would a new millennium have PTSD if they haven't gone to war, if they haven't, done anything? Where does PTSD come in here?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that they use PTSD so loosely.
I see.
Like, "Oh, I got PTSD from dating the wrong guy. I got PTSD because that guy cut in front of me. Now I can't drive and go past, things like that." So they get really emotionally and drama filled.
Wow.
And so they call it PTSD, and I call it stress, whatever it could be. Or they get PTSD because school and all these other different things, so they kind of call that.
So what they're doing is they're using PTSD as a loose definition for anything that bothers them.
Right.
Got it. Got it. What is the minimum age that you as a professional hypnotherapist would suggest a parent who is not having success with the traditional psychotherapy routes, or you just don't think your child is getting the proper attention, that they would come to you and say, "Pattie, my son or my daughter, I think, would benefit from your help"? Is there a minimum age that you put on?
Well, I used to say 6 because, but to me that's still too young for this. I would say 7 or 8, and depends. These 7 and 8-year-olds are super smart. They're very intelligent, very adult. Some of them can tell me more about what I do than what they, what that is. I had a little girl come to me one time and she says, Miss Pattie, I have anxiety disorder. She was 9. And I went, okay, where'd you learn this from?
Yeah.
And I go, WebMD.
My goodness.
Yeah, she wasn't diagnosed. She learned all that stuff from that. And then she actually believed it, that she had all these things and she was having all these symptoms. So you don't know, the kids are so impressionable.
So I would imagine in a case like that where the child has gone to WebMD, come up with their own diagnosis, not only do you have to help the child peel back the layers of the onion in order to get to the root problem, but now you also have to say, listen, sweetie, you don't have, this or that or the other thing. Pattie, you and I have to take a commercial break. Please stand by. And Pattie, is there a website our listeners can go to if they'd like to contact you for a one-on-one consultation?
Yes, you go to the ArizonaHypnotist.com. You can go there and just go link on there, and you can see all the stuff that I deal with.
Excellent. Pattie Freeman is my special guest this hour here in the X Zone, and Pattie and I will be back as we continue talking about hypnosis and a lot more. And if you'd like to get this current edition of the X Chronicles newspaper, it is still available online with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break with Pattie Freeman. Don't go away.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org.
Welcome back, everyone. Pattie Freeman is my special guest this hour. And Pattie, in the past, you and I have talked about the work that you've done with MUFON and other agencies. And I was wondering if you could tell us whether or not the UFO scenario, when it comes to people, needing your expertise as a hypnotist, is busier these days, or is it kind of peaked, or is it less?
I find that more people are being more aware of it,
Yeah.
and they're coming to me asking questions.
Wow.
And a lot of them feel it's in their mind, they're imagining it, are they seeing it? So they come to me to ask, can you help me in some way so I could see if I'm dreaming, or is it the truth? And that's what they're coming to me for, not knowing.
What, let me, how can I best phrase this? What type of situation or what type of experience would a person need to believe that they have had when it comes to UFOs in order to come and see you? And what would you be able to do for them?
Well, in the past, with my clients, they've come to me not knowing that I actually work with MUFON or the UFOs. And in the past, they come to me saying, well, if I would tell you something, would you think it's kind of strange? And I'm saying, just tell me. I've heard some really strange things. And they'll start telling me that they feel that they've been dreaming this. And then, of course, I would ask the normal questions. How often does it happen? A certain time of the month, or that it would happen. It would be the same dream, but a little bit more vivid in their mind that they can't wake up. Or sometimes when things are happening, they can't move. They will tell me different things that they see, or, I would get video from people saying, look at what I'm seeing, is this real? And I'm really, I would say I'm an expert in what I do, but in seeing and hearing of other people going through different things, it's amazing. What they see is they don't know if it's true or not because there's no facts on it for them. And then they think if they would tell their family members or a friend, they're going to think they're nuts, or they're drinking, or they're doing something. And I really just listen to them. And the first signs that I normally see is when they start getting not these premonitions, but these visions all the time. And it's the same vision, or it's the same premonition, or they hear things, or they see something different in the sky, or when they see something in the sky, they're feeling something in their environment by the energy. Everybody feels something different. And what I usually find is the people that come to me when I ask that, when did this start? They have to stop for a minute and say, since I was a child.
Interesting.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah, they'll say it just didn't start. And then they'll go back and go, it was when I was a child living on the farm and I saw this and my mom just said it was nothing. Or my dad told me, don't worry about it. And so they just put it away, and something would happen. They would just say, oh, it's nothing. And then as an adult, it's occurring more and more in their life. So a lot of it is something that happened as a child.
Based on your experience as a professional hypnotist, how many of the cases that you get are actually influenced by the media, by television, by movies, and really has nothing to do with a UFO scenario?
It's hard to say,
really,
because I always tell people, when you do hypnotherapy, you really tell the truth, but sometimes you could lie under hypnosis. And the reason I say that is because if they believe it so much,
right,
it's not a lie detector test. They're going to come out, they're going to believe it so much, they're going to believe what they imagine in their head. So if they would see that I saw that UFO there, I really saw that UFO, and it keeps on imprinting in their memory, they're going to actually think that they saw it. They're going to believe it.
I see.
So sometimes if they see a movie or they see it and they keep believing they were part of that, I don't know which is real or not. So I have to treat it as, yes, it's real, because maybe it is.
So how would you treat someone who has had a UFO experience that is haunting them?
Well, a lot of times I ask, do you really want to know the truth? Because that's the main thing. You know, it's not something to play with. Because if they'll come to me and go, I just want to know. I say, do you really want to know? Because it might open up other things that maybe you're not prepared for. And you got to be prepared for it.
Right.
And that means if, let's say, they just kind of have a flashback of something, they don't know why, they keep having this. And then all of a sudden, they're going, well, it sounds familiar, but I don't know. If they come with that concern, I'd say, well, maybe it's just a dream. But if you really want to know, then I will hypnotize you, and I could bring them back to that moment, let's say when they were sleeping, like a regression,
right,
where I could bring them back to a point where they could see it all like they're watching it. And a lot of times they're so vivid, it almost scares them, which I don't want them to go there, but I'll bring them back out and say, do you want to go further? And a lot of them go, yes, I want to know the truth. And when they leave, they feel so good to realize it wasn't in their imagination, that it was real for them, that they're not nuts. You know, they're not thinking it. They're not imagining it. It's there. And then they believe it, and then they're okay with it. They just want to know the truth.
So basically they go to you for validation.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of times they'll come to me for something else, and out of the blue they'll bring it up. I have no idea why, but they'll say, hey, can I tell you something? Yeah, sure. And they'll start talking to me about it. And then all of a sudden, they won't say it again. And then the next time they come in, they'll say, can we kind of work on that maybe? You know, I was afraid to ask. Yeah, sure, we'll work on it. And then once they go ahead and, like you said, validate it, then they go, wow, that really makes up a lot of things in my head that I could confirm that why this happened or why that or why I thought I saw this. So it makes them feel better about themselves, and that's the main thing.
How did you get involved with the UFO side of hypnosis?
It's weird. It sounds like a very strange story, but to make a long story even more compact, a long time ago, it's so involved, but a long time ago, I was out taking classes, and I came home, and we lived in a small little town. In the small little town that we were in, there's mountains everywhere in Arizona. And as I was going through that one area, something was weird. I'm always looking in the sky, and I always thought something was really weird out there. And it didn't look normal. And I was talking to someone on the phone, and they lived in Chandler area where all these mountains are at. And I said to them, do you see what I see in the sky? And they went, what are you talking about? And I started describing the color of it, the size of it, and it looked weird. It just looked different than the planes, and we don't see that. We don't see that. And I go, oh, it's just me then. And I kept driving, but down this road, there's very little cars, but there was more cars this evening, about 9 o'clock. And we're driving, and all of a sudden, I got not off the phone. I kind of turned around and was going to hang up the phone. And there to the left side of me, on the other side of the road, this thing was like right there with me traveling.
What did it look like?
It was like, I can't even, it was like almost a triangular shape, but it was really dim, and it looked like it was far, but it looked like it was like I could reach out my window and touch it, but it wasn't there. And I said, oh God, my imagination is just going really crazy. But it wasn't, because all the cars in front of me and in back of me started slowing down, doing the same thing I was doing. And the person on the phone said, don't stop, don't stop. And I'm like, I couldn't even talk. I just hung up the phone. And I was like, and this was before we had cell phones with the cameras on it and stuff, so I couldn't. So I was just stunned. I didn't get out of the car. They didn't get out of the car, and it was just sitting there. So all of us got out of the car and went, what is it? And it was quiet. So we thought military, because the military bases, right? But they supposedly do maneuvers there. And we're all standing there, and I said, I'm getting in the car and I'm leaving.
Smart girl.
Part of this, because you can almost see the inside of it was really spooky to me, because I've never thought about that. Well, I thought about UFOs, but I never was that deep into them. So the thing was, I pulled out and left. Everybody followed me, and that was it. Well, the next day at work, I'm at my business, and the girl come in, and she's a friend of mine. She goes, you won't believe what I saw yesterday. And I forgot about it. It's kind of weird, because if I would see something that strange, I'd come home and tell everybody about it. I didn't say one word. I came home like nothing happened. I didn't see anything. It was like it never happened. It was the weirdest thing. I would have never thought about it again, ever. And I walked into my store, we're talking, and this girl comes and goes, you won't believe what I saw last night. I said, what did you see? And she starts describing it, and I finished her sentence for her. And I said, what time was it? She was about 9 o'clock. I said, yep. And then it dawned on me what I saw too, because I knew I seen the same thing. So we got in touch with MUFON. They never called me back. They never wrote me back. So I said, well, at least it's out there. And about a month later, I get an email and a call from them. Said, we need to talk. And I said, sure. So they came to my house. We started talking. They knew what I did. Hypnotherapy. They said, could you be able to hypnotize people to see things, not see things, but, to get information? I said, sure. I mean, that's regression. I could do it. And so we started talking for a little bit. And she goes, I have a client or two that we're not sure. And maybe you could clarify. I go, yeah, sure. And as we're sitting in the room, we walked outside and her partner was with her, looked up and said, come out here quick. And I was like, what? We all ran out there. Our phones weren't working. Our cameras were off. We looked up and there was a spiral disc above the house. And I said, this is crazy. And it was daylight. And the girl said, these follow me all the time. And I'm like, there's no way. And she said, yeah. She goes, give it a minute. Well, look what's going to happen. She goes, I bet you it's going to go out towards Tucson. And I said, why do you say that? Because it goes in those directions. She was telling me it goes north and south. And sure enough, as soon as she got in her car, like they were going to leave, and I was trying to, fumble for a camera, anything, take a picture of it, the thing took off like a speed of light. I'd just never seen something so fast. And I just stood there like so dumbfounded. And I'm like, oh, my God, it could be real. So when I talked to her again, she says, I need you to come and talk to this client.
All right, we're going to have a little bit of a cliffhanger here, Patty, because we've got to take our news break. Exonation, Pattie Freeman is our very special guest. And Patty, give our listeners your website again, please.
It's the ArizonaHypnotist.com.
All right, and Patty and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, X-Zone TV, X-Zone TV channel, and Simul TV. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away, and whatever you do, don't get abducted, huh? Patty's here. She doesn't want to work right now. Don't go away.
Broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond. You're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologist, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Pattie Freeman's our special guest of this hour, Exonation. We're talking to Pattie about hypnosis, and Pattie was telling us about an experience that she had while people from MUFON, that's the Mutual UFO Network, met with Pattie to discuss her case that she had, as well as to find out if Pattie had the ability and would help them with other cases that they were investigating. One of the investigators went outside, called to his partner who was inside the house with Pattie. They went outside, and up above, sure enough, there was a spiral disc. Back then, there were no cameras and cell phones. Pattie tried to find a camera to take a picture, and the lady who was with Pattie told her what would happen. And Pattie, come on, let's get back into the story. I've got people listening all over the world who are saying, come on, get back to the story, guys.
Well, the strange thing about it is that this did take off like that. And she said it's like it follows her everywhere.
Wow. And
around that time, they were having sightings in that small town, and nobody believed it. And so she had told me, that she wants to use me that. And so I was curious to find out what I saw that night before. I said, why did you even return, the call or whatever now? Why did you wait? And she said, because we were investigating 5 or 6 other sightings that you and those other people saw on the side of the road, that it was seen somewhere else. So it was in that area. But they weren't they were like a spiral, it was a triangular shape.
Right.
So I said about the spiral thing, and she said, well, she took me with her for sightings. Of course, it never happened with me there, but with her, it seems like it comes along with her. And so then we ended up doing a couple of the sightings that were there, hypnotizing them, putting them under. I never told them about my experience or anything. And they seen the same things, just what a lady sitting outside laying on her hammock looking up, and it went under the electrical current, the wires.
High tension wires, yeah.
Yeah, so it went under, so they know it wasn't an airplane, it was that low. And so those were sightings quite a bit around that area. And so, who knows? And like someone says, well, when you work on people, how do you know if it's true or not? I don't know. I don't even know what I saw, if it was that or something from the military. We don't know.
Right.
But the thing is, you have to have an open mind. When I seen something in front of me, it's like, wow, it could be out there. And
like you were saying earlier, Pattie, if the person believes in their heart of hearts that they actually saw something, in their mind they did. And you as a professional have to treat it as such.
Right, and I can't doubt it because I'm not them. And the other thing is, like I said, normally I would come home and talk about my day or what happened. It was like that never happened. It was kind of weird. It was like you get amnesia until that girl brought it up, and it was like something triggered me, like a light switch. And I said, "Is it this color? Was it this shape?" It's just, how did you know all that? Unreal. I saw the same thing. So it was like, so people do get that.
Pattie, during the times that you've been an investigator as well as a hypnotist for MUFON, is there a common thread between all the people who have UFO experiences? Because there are so many people that may have them or don't realize they're having them or may not have them compared to the people who have them. What is the common thread?
I think the ones that want to have one so bad, those aren't the real ones. And I think the ones that are open and don't think about it, and when they look up in the sky and they see these things, it's just an amazing thing to see. Perfect example. I take my puppy to the dog park. A lady came right up to me out of all the people at the dog park, came right up to me and said, if I would show you something, would you believe me? I'm like, well, she don't even know what I do. And she showed me videos after videos after videos of these saucer things coming from out the mountains. I go, where is this from? And she goes, I face that mountain every day, and this is what I see. And she goes, people don't believe me. And I put it on Instagram, and nobody, they think they're, she goes, I don't understand. What is it?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I could tell you it is different. It's not an airplane. I don't know what to tell you. And she said, I just have these weird experiences that everywhere I go, things happen and it follows me. And she's from a different country. And she said, ever since she came here, this has been happening to her. And so I thought that was kind of odd too.
It is.
So I think the common thread is that they mostly see the same object or the same shape, and they have the same experience of not amnesia, but it's a fogginess, like they don't know if it's real or not. So they don't really emphasize on it much, like, oh, I saw something. That's like, I think it's kind of different. I don't know if it's real. I don't know. It's not. The ones that always go, I seen one, I know, and they're so affirmative. Sometimes those are ones that are trying too hard to make it happen.
Pattie, do you think that people who have close encounters, or the people who are allegedly abducted, are chosen by the visitors?
That's hard to say. I've had clients come to me to talk to me, and they swear they've been abducted.
Right.
I've also had people that would tell me that they don't know if they were abducted, but they feel that at a certain time of the year or a certain time of the month that they need to be at a certain place and a certain time. That's kind of odd.
Yes.
So it's, it all depends if they were chosen or maybe they were in the right place at the right time when that happened.
Very interesting. When you take clients or people who claim that they have been abducted, and I'm just going to use that scenario because I think that this is an example that a lot of our listeners can relate to, and you bring them back and you start peeling layer after layer after layer, it must surprise you at times as to what is under the next layer. For example, when you go through this person's lifetime, then all of a sudden, bang, you're into a different lifetime. How do you deal with that?
Well, a lot of times I really tell them you're putting all your information to me, that they have to trust me, first of all, that I would never do anything to them that would ever harm them or hurt them, which they agree. Yeah. And they might be surprised what they might hear from me or hear from themselves when they're talking about it. They might, because they hear themselves talking under hypnosis. And a lot of times they might surprise themselves. They don't know why they're saying those things. I've had people talk in different voices to me. Kind of strange.
Different languages as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they don't know why they said that. And to me, I'm baffled myself, because I've never had that happen. It's always something new because you don't know. And it's the strangest thing. I've had a metaphysical person in my chair one time. He kept telling me he was a star child. And I said to him, how do you know you're a star child at first? And he said, well, you think I'm crazy, aren't you? And I go, no, I'm open. And he says, I just, no one understands it. I am. I just know this. I go, okay. And he was in his 40s.
Right.
He's never been hypnotized. He said, can you hypnotize me to kind of clarify it? Because he would tell me what he would see at night and all the experiences he's having. And I'm like, well, this is a new one, a star child, so let me see what I can do. As soon as he sat in my chair, it was after hours in my office, so I could spend some time with him. As I started counting him, all of a sudden, his very, very somber face turned to the right where I was sitting and said, we are here.
Whoa.
In a whole new different voice. And I went, okay, now what do I do? Do I run? Do I stay? I didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so very calmly, I just said, who are we? And they said, he knows. That's all he said. So talking to a third person almost, I had to say, is it okay if I communicate with him? so he could find out what he needs to find out. And they said yes. And then the head turned right back to where he was. His whole features just changed. It was so different. It was like almost, something different I've never experienced with anybody else. And then I started asking him questions, and he started answering his normal voice, and everything was fine. And
if a person
believe it.
If a person has multiple personality, would this play into this part where he actually believes that one of the personalities that he has is this other person from another world, and that because he believes this himself, that this other person comes out? But if he's got a multiple personality, what's it called? Personality? Come on, Patty.
Disorders.
Disorder. Yeah. Would he actually know that he's got more than one personality within his psyche?
Well, you got to understand, someone that has multiple personality or schizophrenic, okay,
right.
What happens is they know they have that.
Okay.
They have some mental issues with their family. They've been taking medicine for it. They've been diagnosed with it. And even if sometimes when people go, does that mean when I talk to myself, that means I got a multiple person? No, that's not what that means. But the thing is, this gentleman didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? He was very spiritual.
Wow.
He was very grounded, down to earth, very sane, And when I told him, after he woke up, and I told him what he needed to know, and when I told him that, he looked at me like I was the crazy one. He went like, I did what? What, are you making this up? I said, why would I make this up?
Yeah.
I mean, here you are. When that happened, I said, I told him, I actually looked at the door and said, should I run now, or would I be able to get to the door fast enough? Because I didn't know what to experience with him. It really scared me for him even. And he had said, well, no one ever told me I ever said that or ever did anything. He apologized, continuously. I said, that's okay. It's a new experience for me too, of how to handle in case something like this happens again, which it never did, but it was kind of interesting. It kind of answered his questions for him without me even telling him anything else.
Patty, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. X Zone Nation, Pattie Freeman is our very special guest. And if you'd like to see the X Zone TV episode that we did with Patty, all you need to do is go to www.xzonetv.com, scroll down the different shows, and Patty's, I think, number 6 or 7. We'll be back on the other side of this break as Pattie Freeman and I wrap up this hour. Very interesting hour. Hypnosis, UFOs, alien abductions, and much more. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
concept of a New Age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the New Age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique, complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. Chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Pattie Freeman is my special guest, and her website is the ArizonaHypnotist.com. And first of all, Pattie, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always a great pleasure talking to you. Have you ever come across somebody when you're doing past life regression who claims to be Caesar, Cleopatra, Jesus Christ, or any of the most famous people in history? And if you do, how do you deal with that?
Well, really, I've never had that. Everyone wishes they could have that.
I see.
But, but there's very rarely that someone would be one of those, I guess, or, Cleopatra or whatever. You get in different parts of people that have been choreographers on the Egyptian, realm and different things, but nothing that would say, hey, here I am, that would come back.
How has the stage hypnosis acts affected credible and hypnotherapy and the work that you do? Has it kind of tainted the professionalism of hypnotism?
Sometimes it does. It depends who does it. Because I do stage for corporate and high schools and colleges in a positive way. But when I do start it, I let them know this is what hypnosis is all about. It's not making you do something negative or anything else. It's fun. That's my fun part of my career. So my therapy is my seriousness is my fun part, so I could have fun with them. But usually at the end, I'll tell them you could use it for sports and test taking and all these things that we use it for. So I said, if the person up here, if they're funny under hypnosis, and they're funny normally, if they're not funny normally and they're funny under hypnosis, so it's kind of like, you can make your mind believe or do anything you want it to do under hypnosis in a positive way. So I use it as a positive anchor for me.
So I would imagine, just on what you said there, a person could actually go to a hypnotist like yourself or another credible hypnotist and use hypnosis as an aid to helping themselves through school, through, I'm sure, shyness and the other social frailties that certain people face on a daily basis.
Oh, definitely. That happens all the time. I have high schoolers that need to go to college, and so they need for their test taking. Right. Or I have people that are in college that are having trouble with a, like a test that they have to take. Like I says, I'm going to further my education. So I even use hypnosis for my own self in order for me to get concentration skills, focus, because I'm so distracted with all these things in my life. Yeah. So when I do study, it retains the information for me. So when I do take that test, I know what I'm talking about.
In today's life, there's one major word that affects each and every one of us, and that is stress. Mm-hmm. How can hypnosis help people who find themselves under an enormous amount of stress? Like I would imagine in the major corporate fields, there's a lot of stress. Politics, there's stress. And even in the scholastic system today, because of the competitiveness, there's a lot of stress. How can you, as a professional hypnotherapist, help us?
I tell everybody, stop and think. Stop. You got to stop what you're doing and think what you're doing. We just keep doing because it's a habit. It's a routine in our head. So when we stop and we just stop even for a brief second and think, is this important for me to do this, or can I take a break? can I go ahead and just put that phone down, especially, or the computer down, and just go have a break, walk around the block, do something that, was way back when that we didn't have those phones and stuff, to just sit down and relax for 5 minutes and get our mind to just be at ease, and then go back to what we got to do, and once they do that, they realize, wow, I'm kind of missing that downtime, in order for us to go ahead and go forward. It's the best way. They'll distress a lot better.
If somebody comes to you for a problem and you as a professional know that just one visit is not going to help, is there a way that you could give them a keyword that if they get into the situation, for example, if they suffer from high anxiety and stress, that if they find themselves getting to a point that they need help, the keyword that you gave them under the hypnosis session, could they just say, all right, for example, a green light, and bang, what you've done to them and how you've helped them with the hypnosis session is able to be triggered and help them at that time?
All the time. I use colors. I use the color red, because red is a strong power color in business, but it's also for ourselves. And really, do you see red like that's getting more popular, but normally we see red on anybody or anything, but every time they see that color red, they might even carry it with them. It makes them happier, make them distressed. Or my thing is, I tell them water. Water is really important, especially out here. So water, if they drink a little bit of water, of a bottle, a cup, or water fountain, they feel better. They feel de-stressed, so they're always drinking water. So those things are natural, where somebody's not going to say, why are they doing that? Or why are they saying that to themselves? Water, color red, things like that, just calms them down a little bit more.
We were talking earlier about your UFO experience and the people at MUFON who investigate these sightings all around the world. Why do you think that there are so many UFO sightings in your neck of the woods, and that's in Arizona?
It's so hard to say. I always say that, they come for a reason. If it is the true thing, which you're seeing more and more visitations, they say, and spotting. And I think it's something that's here. I've watched all these UFO shows and everything else. And mostly it's something that we might have something here that's not somewhere else, and that's what they're looking for, especially in the mountains. So who knows what's in there that they're, feeding on? Who knows? It could be fuel for their ships. I don't know what it could be. It could just be that, or it could be something that we don't even know about. It could be military, and we think it's the UFOs. All right, we don't know.
Let's say hypothetically that these UFOs are visitors from another galaxy, another universe, another time. Based on the people that you've spoken to, do you believe that these visitors pose a threat to humanity?
Not at all. The reason I say that, because every time that I ask, do you feel threatened? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel stress? I think that the point that they feel anxious, stressed, and threatened is what they don't know what's going on.
Right.
But once they feel it happening and they tell themselves, it's all in good, they're not going to harm us. And when they tell themselves that, then they allow themselves to be more open, and then they don't feel so threatened. And they'll tell me, they're here to help us, Patty. They're not here to hurt us. They keep telling me that. So when each one tells me, not knowing each other with the same wording, it's like, this is amazing that they have the same type of message to give us, that they want to help us.
I heard a dog in the background earlier, and you were talking about taking your dog to the dog park, and this lady came up and showed you videos. Is it possible to hypnotize a dog or another animal? I've always wanted to ask a hypnotherapist that question, and when you started talking about your dog and the dog park, I made a little note here. Ask Patty about hypnotizing dogs. How do you do it with a dog?
Well, this is a funny short story.
Okay.
I have clients in Europe. I have them in Germany and Russia and everywhere. And I have a hockey player that's in Germany, and he calls me. We do Skype all the time.
Okay.
And I don't know anything of what's in his place or anything else. And one day I'm hypnotizing him and I hear a snore noise. And I'm like, well, that don't look like he's snoring. And I'm looking at him and you hear it gets louder and louder. And I'm looking at him going, God, that can't be him. And so he wakes up and he looks and he goes, what? And I said to him, what's that noise? He goes, let me show you. He turns his computer screen around. Right. And he has one of those bull mastiffs, those big dogs.
Oh, my God.
Stretched across his king-size bed with pillows all over. And he's snoring. And he goes, Patty, every time you Skype, he comes running in here ready. And he snored this time. But he goes, he's out for 3 hours afterwards. And he goes, you should package this because I think it would help anxiety dogs. Because his dog has got separation anxiety and stuff. And I'm like, never thought about it. Well, then I turned my computer around. I have an Afghan hound. They're very sensitive.
They're very beautiful, too.
Yeah. And when I showed him that, he started laughing. And my dog was stretched over the body pillow I had on where I was at. Right. And he was hugging it, and he was out like a light. So he goes, how did you do that? I said, every time I have, because it was late at night, every time I have a client, it don't matter if I'm on the phone, if he hears that music or hear me talking, he's right in the room with me because he's ready to go to sleep. It's the funniest thing. He has the best night's sleep. Isn't that weird?
I think it's wonderful. But speaking about sleep, why is it when people come out of a hypnotic session, they feel invigorated, as if they've had hours worth of sleep?
Well, they normally say like 20 minutes of hypnosis, like a 4-hour nap.
Wow.
Because that's like shutting the mind down. Because your mind's not really thinking. Your mind's saying, thank gosh, you let me do this. So when they wake up, I tell them they're going to feel great, just feel so good from the inside out that they have this high almost in a whole new different way of happiness, a high of feeling so complete that their mind wants to feel joy and happiness. So they feel really rested.
Well, that's because they've spent time with you.
Yeah.
Patty, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. As usual, when you're with us, time goes by so fast. Thanks again for all you do, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet back here in the X Zone.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Take care of yourself, my friend.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye now. X Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Pattie Freeman for a one-on-one private consultation, her website is the Arizona Hypnotist.com. I'll be back. Well, thank you very much, Craig. You just gave me a heart attack again. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, X Zone TV channel, and Simul TV. I'm Rob McConnell, and once again, if you'd like to contact Pattie Freeman, her website is thearizonahypnotist.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.